Do you want to embrace your inner Claudia? Not sure what I'm talking about? Well, Claudia Winkleman is an iconic British TV presenter, and she presents a wonderful, exciting series called The Traitors. And she wears some really stylish and chic outfits, and I have Claudia envy. So much so that I've wanted to make a cloak for the longest time. Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my sewing space. Yes, you heard me right. I've been on a cloak journey and I think I've finally found the one that really suits me. So I'm going to share the deets with you today. Let's start by talking about the Nuala Cape Coat from CORALIE BIJASSON. Now I have got my laptop on my knee, so please excuse me if I keep looking down and you see where my hair dye is growing out. But it's important to know all the details, so we're going to go through them together. Nuala is an iconic and elegant winter cape. Nuala is double-breasted cloak with a chic stand-up collar and refined side welt pockets. Designed with a jacket body hidden under generous sleeves. It combines warmth, femininity and timeless elegance. How gorgeous does that sound? This pattern includes 2 sleeve options, 3/4 sleeves for a modern casual look or long sleeves for a chic and classic silhouette. The double-breasted front can be enhanced with statement buttons, adding couture style and instant sophistication to your outfit. Gets better and better, doesn't it? Nuala is best sewn in medium fabrics such as wool, wool coating, jacquard or even velvet. Oh, velvet. There's an idea for another one. Ensuring a flawless drape and cosy comfort. Recommended weight is 300 to 500 grams per metre squared. And the sizes available for this cape cloak, not very size inclusive, so sorry about the larger ladies out there. I buy the patterns that suit and fit me. So being a petite lady, I fit in the size range. So Nuala comes in European sizes 34 up to 48, US sizes 2 to 16 and UK sizes 6 to 20. Nuala is set to become a winter wardrobe essential. I'm feeling it. I'm really feeling my inner Claudia. How much fabric do you need for the Nuala? I'll pop up the size chart with the fabric guide there, but go over it briefly here. So for the 3/4 length sleeves, you need You need 2.4 up to 2.5 meters of fabric, which is quite fabric hungry for a jacket, but it's the big cape sleeves that do it. And for the long sleeve, you need 2.7 to 2.8 meters of fabric. You also need lining for this cloak, and again for 3/4 length you need 1.7 to 1.8 meters, so slightly less than the outer fabric, and that's because of the facings on the front. And for the long sleeve version you need 2 to 2.1 meters of fabric. You're also going to need interfacing. I always recommend using a woven interfacing. It's my interfacing of preference. And it says 14 buttons. I actually only used 12 and I've since figured out that the 2 that I've missed off are on the semi belt on the back, but I can live with that. So this is the big reveal of my Nuala Cape Coat. I absolutely loved making this. It was a challenge, I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of work in it, and I would reckon it took me about 3 full days if I did it in 3 days of sewing. Took my time, tried my best, and I'm pleased with the result. So I made this in 100% pure wool fabric that I bought from Rosenberg's at the Quilt Festival back in July, August, and I wanted to get it finished because I promised them that I would come back to Harrogate in November with my finished garment. By the skin of my teeth have I managed to do that, but here it is. Absolutely love it to bits. So let's talk about any alterations that I made to this cape coat. Well, I made a size 10 and the fit is really good. I'm so pleased with it. Hardly made any alterations, interestingly, for a midget. I decided I wasn't altering the length of the coat in the body because I wanted it to come thigh length, and I think on the pictures it comes a little bit higher. It's more of a jacket than a coat, so I left it the length that it was. And then the sleeve dilemma. It was a real head scratcher, this one, because I wanted the 3/4 length sleeves. So I cut them out at 3/4 length, and they're not a sleeve, they're like a huge curved, almost like a big piece of wedge of cheese. And you have a front and a back. So I thought, how on earth am I gonna shorten the length of these? So I decided to just cut them out the length of the pattern and then shorten them just at the bottom of the sleeve if I needed to. And weirdly, I haven't needed to shorten the sleeves. How's that working? Because trust me, I usually take at least 3 inches off a sleeve. Maybe I've kept them a little bit longer than the pattern idea was. Mine come 3/4, which is what it says. If I'd shortened them, they'd have been up near my elbow, which would have been too short even for a cape sleeve. So no alterations made on the sleeve, which is a good thing for me, but not for everybody else. Maybe it's the way I've cut them out, sewn it, I don't know, but they really do fit well for me. And that's it, no alterations. Absolutely flipping perfect on that front as far as I'm concerned. Now, I did spend ages and ages cutting this out because it's a check, and as far as I could manage, I wanted to try and match the checks, particularly across the front here where the double-breasted bit is, and that's worked really well. There are places where I'm a little bit disappointed. I wanted the welt pockets to really match up, and they're slightly out there. But you know what? I've realised the welt pockets are hidden by the sleeves most of the time anyway, so I can live with that. So I cut it out all in a single layer because of the check, and I at least wanted both pieces to be exactly the same. And if you don't do that, the checks have a life of their own, and you end up with 2 unidentical pieces that are meant to be identical, if you catch my drift. So when you're doing checks or big patterns and you want everything to match, cut it out in a single layer. And the lining, interestingly, is cut out the same as the body, which was a bit of a head scratcher for me. And I don't know if you can see, for some reason on the sleeves, or particularly on one side, the linings ended up a little bit longer than the outside. I'm okay with it, I'm gonna live with it. But if I did it again, I would definitely cut the cape sleeves lining pieces out ever so slightly smaller, probably by about 1/2 centimetre, so not a lot. Slightly smaller than the outer, and hopefully avoid that pesky lining peeking through. So what challenges are there if you want to make the Nuala Cape Coat? Well, it's got a collar, and it's a stand collar, which actually is one of the easiest collars to do. So that's a great introduction to doing collars. The cape sleeves are easy to sew, but a bit of a head scratcher when you're attaching them in. But there is a sew along for this cape coat. I was in Anglesey with limited Wi-Fi, so I couldn't follow the sew along, and it would have made it so much easier. So cape sleeves, lots of buttons, 12 to 40, well, at least 12 buttonholes to do on this. Now mine aren't perfect. I'm a little bit annoyed. I've got a bit of a bulge there, so I need to move that button over and that'll solve that. But then, for some reason, these 4 buttons here are closer together than the others. And I've got to be honest, it annoys the hell out of me. I spent ages measuring. I used my stretchy concertina thingy, whatever that's called, and still got one set wrong. My sewing machine, my faff, was fine with the thick wool fabric, but I think if I made this again, well, I probably will make this again actually. I quite fancy making it in a plain fabric. And I'm not going to put buttons on and buttonholes, I'm going to put press studs on it instead, just to make my life a little bit easier, because that took forever. 12 buttonholes is a few buttonholes too many for me anyway. So lots of buttonholes. And then the last, welt pockets. I forgot about the welt pockets. Now, you don't really have to put these in if you don't want, but they are a design feature of the cape. The instructions on how to do these are very good. They do work, but you've got to be accurate with your measuring. And the last thing that you're going to learn is bagging out, and bagging out on unusual shaped coat as well. So lots to learn, lots of challenges. Loved making the Nuala. So obviously I love this cape coat, and on the Traitors they have faithfuls and traitors. So they're people, but we're talking about my Nuala cape. So is my Nuala cape a faithful or a traitor? Well, obviously, in my opinion, it's a faithful all the way. This is going to be one of my favourite patterns. I wore it when I went to the supermarket yesterday and I felt so made up. And in fact, one lady came up to me and asked me where I'd got it from. That is a winner for me. So it's definitely a faithful in my book. But it's your turn to decide now. Let me know. I'm going to set voting up if I can figure it out. And if I haven't, you can also comment below. Do you think the Nuala is a faithful or a traitor? I don't want you to think of it from my point of view. I want you to be honest and tell me, faithful or traitor for you. Would you make it? If you'd make it, then it's a faithful. If you wouldn't, you think it's, just not you, then it's a traitor. And let's see what the scores on the doors are. And I will reveal the final scores on Thursday this week. So I hope you've enjoyed watching my vlog all about the Nuala. And it's pretty frosty outside today. So we're going to go and give it a little bit of a swoosh around the garden. And I might do my Superman flying routine, because with these sleeves you've got to show them off, haven't you? I will be wearing it to the knit and stitch on Sunday, so if you see me swooshing around in this, then come and say hi. Hope I've inspired you, and I will see you on Thursday. Take care, happy sewing, and vote for the Nuala. Traitor or faithful, let me know. Bye.